All right. Happy Thursday, everyone. So glad that you can join us for another episode of the Civic Cafe. It is March 28th, 2024. The month has gone by so fast. It is currently 49 degrees in good old Bremerton. Weather's kind of shaky. We don't know what to expect, but spring showers bring May flowers. We'll see if that holds. But man, we've got a good hour in store for you. As last month, we have Jane Rebelowski, uh, Bremerton City Councilwoman, District 4. Let me give her the horn and let me give her applause. And let's go ahead and bring her on up. Jane, how are you doing this month?
I'm well, thank you.
Good. Well, I get to see you all the time because you come on Thursday, and I just saw you last night, and you had a
Yep.
pretty full study session yesterday.
Yeah, there was a lot of information exchanged and
Hmm.
some even really good news, you know.
Yeah, with Tony Ives and Jill Stanton, and I always forget the gentleman's name from St. Vincent de Paul. They had a really
Joe
good
Ken.
report. Joking. Yeah, it was chock full. So again, you can always catch the study sessions here on the Conduit broadcasting, because I don't think BCAT broadcast the study sessions, correct?
No, my understanding is, well, I don't know if BCAT does. I think you have to go on Zoom. There's a link so you can watch it. You
Live.
just can't comment if you're in the public at study sessions.
Gotcha. All right. So yes, and shout out to BCAT, because without them, none of this stuff is possible. So
That's
they're
true.
they are awesome over there. So let's get into it. This month you had really cool things that you wanted to talk about. Uh, First, I just want to get an update. How are you doing? And the reason why I want to start doing this just in the beginning is typically when you start a show, some folks are waiting for the alert to hit, and we've gone into the meat of things so fast and they miss a little bit. So we can, spill a little time a little bit. So how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm looking forward to nicer weather. Although my yard really wants me out there. I kind of missed a whole season of taking care of my yard last year when I was door knocking. So it shows right now. I see some blackberries creeping in and lots of weeds. So I'm going to have to hit that hard soon, but not yet.
When you do your the park events where you're getting rid of the old sticker bushes, what does
Mhm.
that entail?
Well, I have some extra ones, extra clippers. So what it entails is you wear some gloves and you just carefully pull them out, try not to poke yourself, clip them off, and then we just make a big pile. And then the Parks Department staff comes in within the next few days and they cart it all away.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, you have to wear gloves. You have to use a clipper, but I have extras of both. So, if you don't have them, doesn't mean you shouldn't come.
Just come
And
on down.
then I'm getting donuts from Midtown Market. They're making their own donuts there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I
Okay.
didn't realize that, but he's like, yeah, every early morning they're making them in an air fryer. I had no idea you could make your own donuts in an air fryer. It might be dangerous information to have, but
I think I'll leave that up to the experts for sure. I don't think I'm
yeah.
qualified for that. Let me ask you too. You're talking about trying to take care of your own garden. Do you do anything with the blackberries? Do you bake pies or anything like that?
No.
No. It's like no.
No, I'm not a baker. I like to cook, but I did not get the baking gene. My sisters and nieces and nephews all bake really well, but not me. I can make a key lime pie because it's only got like 3 or 4 ingredients. I can
You
do
al-
that.
you also make a mean breakfast dish. I can't remember what I had when
Oh
I was at
yeah.
the house.
Yeah, I like cooking. Yeah, that was kind of a take on shrimp and grits. But
Mm-hmm. But it
yeah.
had egg in it too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
almost like like a quiche scramble or?
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah, it was. I like making quiche.
yeah,
So
kinda remind me of something my dad would make. So, um,
yeah, but baking cakes and pies, nope, not me.
well, good. All right, so we probably let enough time pass to go through, and so we were gonna kinda get into, goal setting and some more, good stuff there, so I'm gonna kinda pass it on to you.
I just got to make sure I brought that downstairs. I might have to run upstairs to get something.
Oh, no worries.
Um, what are, do you have?
Go ahead, I'll just talk while you find it.
Okay, you chat for a minute.
So, Jane, this is the second month that Jane has come on, and right now she's pretty committed to coming on to the fourth Thursday at 3 p.m. And so we're really excited about that. If you are reading in the description, I've got a quote in there that I wrote, and I believe that democracy works best if those that are historically not able to participate in it are able to. And so she is making herself available. She'll talk before the end of this hour about the times when she's available at Bremerton High School to come and talk to city council person. And then she's bringing different people in the community to talk and educate, which is really powerful and important. And then here also another way to be accessible. So understand if you don't like how things are going, or if you do like how things are going, if you want things to stay how they're going or get even better, the way to do that is engagement. And so this is a great way for civic engagement. And we are all in this together. And, you know, we want the best Bremerton we could possibly have. And this is one of the ways that we can do it. So we appreciate you for tuning in. And Jane is back.
Okay, I found my papers. So each year, the city council members meet early for an all day, early in the year, for an all day event where we all propose different goals for us to work on in the next year or two. Um, some of them make it through, some of them don't. I had a lot of losses, but I had a couple wins in it. But basically, we have senior staff sitting there. And next year, really, I hope more that the public does attend. They're always welcome to attend, but I don't know. They're not allowed to like speak except when we're all sitting having lunch. But it's really good to listen to kind of see how the discussions go because you'll learn a lot about A, the other council members, B, all the senior staff by their responses. So we broke down into certain categories, the things that are going to be our goals for the next 2 years.
Okay.
And as we check them off, like about every 6 months, we'll look and say, okay, we've got these things accomplished. We may be adding more things to them, or there may be certain items that really aren't council goals. It's maybe it's something for administration to do, the mayor and his staff. So right now, do you want me to read you some of the goals we have?
Yeah, please. And I'm going to put them in the chat while you're doing that at the same time.
Okay. So with economic development, and these are not in any, the subject titles are not in any order of how important we think they are. It
Got
is just kind of alphabetical, but not really.
it.
So the main goal is to promote economic development initiatives. Um, one of them is the Bremerton Creative District,
Mm,
which is just downtown, but they recently were, it's like a distinct kind of award for a neighborhood that they note that there's a lot of artists working hard to get more people into that area. Um, We also are going to keep promoting Main Street certification. Right now, the Downtown Bremerton Association is trying to get um, the title Main Street certification. So that helps you get additional funding from bigger organizations.
Shout out
It's
to Councilwoman Anna Mockler. She says it makes you eligible for funding.
yes,
Can you explain what Main Street certification is for those that may not know?
not well.
And if you want to type in the chat in there, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm not going to try to BS
No,
anybody.
no worries. No, that's good. No,
Yeah.
you know what? That is super respectful, right? A lot of folks would try to just give an answer um when it's just so much more real and honest to say, you know what, I don't know, I can't give you a good answer. Let me give you some time and come back. That's way more respectable than trying to fake it till you make it. I appreciate that.
Um, the Downtown Bremerton Association has also asked us to look at historic preservation, which is a double edged sword. I've
Mm,
worked for cities that had historic designation, and it's great to save the old buildings. I'm all for that. Like, I have artifacts from the Sinclair Dine and Dance on my patio. I don't want to see everything knocked down, but when you have a whole nother level of permitting and staff needed to have an official historic preservation city, you know.
mhm.
So I think it's important for it to be a goal, but I don't know if it's something that's in the city's best interest at this time to have a policy and a board for historical preservation. It would probably take us 2 extra staff members too, just to run the whole thing. And we need staff other places.
That big facts there. And that
Yeah.
would seem really like a pretty challenging balance to say, hey, this should be labeled as historic, and then also trying to continue to build and grow the city, bring more folks in, and trying to also preserve these buildings becomes extremely expensive
Yeah.
to do at the same time. So, uh, man, that's not an easy decision there.
And then it could creep out too. Like, in the city, there's lots of craftsman style houses. I live in one of them.
Mm.
And all of a sudden it could be in some cities, they go as far as to tell you what color you can paint your house or what
Wow.
changes you can make to the outside or the inside. And I don't want to go down that road. It's like living in a giant homeowners association,
Yeah, it sounds like a
which is
nightmare.
good for some people. Some people like that. Um, I don't. Um, One thing that I think is really critical that we do is to try to develop a policy on these chronically vacant buildings. Downtown, especially, there's all these beautiful buildings that in the 25 years I've lived here, nothing has been inside of them. Nothing.
Wow.
So, I mean, look around at all the empty storefronts, you know? And for some of the property owners, it's better to have it as a tax write-off than to spend the money to redevelop the building or the property even. So we have to figure out a way to help with that, to come up with some policies and any ideas that the public has on any of these. I hope that y'all send in emails, come to meetings and talk to us about it.
Well, Jane, I can tell you there are several folks, me included, that believe that eminent domain should be something that's visited. I know that a lot of folks see that as a nuclear option, because you don't want to take property from people. Um,
Yeah.
but again, 25 years of being empty. I see the storefronts. I didn't know that some of them have been empty for almost 3 decades.
Yeah.
I mean, that's blight. That is, um, being very resistant to community and the growth of Bremerton, and so something does need to be done.
Yeah.
So please do send those ideas in. But there are several, especially trying to address the unhoused issue, was saying we should use eminent domain as a tool to house our unhoused population.
Yeah. You got to be real careful with eminent domain.
Mhm.
I had a friend back in New London, Connecticut, who the city of New London decided to go with a developer, and they basically uh, took over her whole neighborhood, Fort Trumbull neighborhood.
Mm.
And it was a neighborhood for blue collar workers to live in, little homes, little lots, but it was right by the water. You could smell the ocean, and it was really pretty beautiful. So the city bought up most of the properties and rezoned everything. And she fought it all the way to the Supreme Court, where she lost it, and she lost the case. And the developer never built. They just wiped out all those houses. And then it was just before the 2008 recession, and they had no money. So, you know what? That land's still vacant because it
Wow.
takes money to
Wow.
make.
Hmm.
So, and then, they tried to push eminent domain on the South Pacific bar. Do you remember that?
Hmm.
And here that family had invested their life savings into that bar, and they almost lost it. It was close,
Yeah.
and it was just to give another building a better view. So you got to be careful what you wish for sometimes, and look at all the ways that people could modify your goals to meet their needs.
Well, and maybe that could be that distincting piece, right? Where South Pacific, you've got a family-owned business that is, thriving and doing what they can versus a building owner that has a vacant building for a decade or more that's doing nothing but taking a tax break from it, right? Like
Right.
maybe that's the line in that.
Right. So it has to be very careful the way the needle's threaded.
Mhm.
So those were ideas. And then the regular continue to work with the Greater Kitsap Chamber of Commerce, Kitsap Economic Development Alliance, Downtown Bremerton Association, a lot of that it's things that of course we're going to do. So I don't even know that it needs to be a goal if it's something that we do all the time, but maybe having it listed as a goal is a good reminder for us. So,
Do you have any ideas as you are settling into office in regards to what you want to do with your own goals and kind of, you know,
a lot, the majority of my goals, number one, was to actually be able to talk to the residents who live in our district, because we didn't have that for a long time. And that was really one of my main reasons. And so by you allowing me to do this, it's such a great service, you know. And then I have community meetings once a month,
mhm.
and so we all get a lot of good ideas from each other when we're sitting around the table. A big goal of mine is to keep helping to support Tony Ives and Jill Stanton and Joe Kane and Monica Bernhardt, all the folks who are trying to pull together this massive project to serve our homeless neighbors. And I said it last night and I'll say it again. The Navy needs to start helping too. We have all our bigger agencies working on it with a lot of help from smaller agencies. I'm not trying to set aside all the nonprofits that are helping with this. But the Navy certainly adds to our homeless crisis with, you can't assign 10,000 people to a town without any rentals and not expect it to dramatically change the market. And, we're going to be getting more and more. So we need more and more help from the Navy.
So let me ask you about that, Jane. What if I was command, what would be your request of me to support our unhoused and affordable housing in our local economy?
Well, I think in the short term, providing some staff, because, the head, Tony Ives and Jill and Monica and Joe, they already have jobs,
Hmm.
right? They have 40, 50-hour week jobs. And on top of that, they are trying to pull together the funding, the paperwork, everything to have this low barrier shelter with pallet housing to help continue getting folks off the streets, stabilize them, get them into some somewhat independent living until they're ready for real independent living, but to keep giving them a hand, not just like, okay, we checked off this box. So what they really need is like somebody to be sort of their project manager, I guess. They all have a huge list of tasks that they're trying to do in order to make this all happen. So I think that the Navy should be able to step in and help them with that, with a coordinator. And a little cash wouldn't hurt either.
Has city council taken a look at any other cities that have military bases in and around them to see what type of support they're offering to their communities in regards to homelessness?
I'm not aware that city council has. Um, I'm sure the mayor has, but I've never seen a report on that.
Mhm.
So I don't know.
I mean, it'd be interesting to see what Joint Base is
Yeah,
doing with the island. Let alone look at Pensacola. I mean, there's so many different places we can look at. We're
right.
all facing the same thing nationwide, so
Hmm.
someone is probably doing something that we could take on and modify. We've got some
Yeah.
unique issues with being on a peninsula, but um, for
Yeah, we
sure,
don't need to recreate the wheel all the time.
right, right. But I do agree. The military should definitely be a big partner in helping us.
Hmm. So I know they've reached out and they plan on reaching out again. I brought it up last night at council and I'm going to keep bringing it up.
So how will that work? Will you have a quorum where they can meet with all of you? Or will just two go?
Well, the council members are not on that, we'll call it a committee.
Mm,
So that's something I think the mayor most likely will be joining in with them.
okay.
I'm not sure, or he might assign some staff. They just come and give us updates and let us know about what kind of problems they may be having that the city can help them with. So
Mm,
if there's certain things that we can help them with, that we need to, adjust some of our budgets, not that we have a whole bunch of extra to give them, but there might be something, maybe they need seed money for something. I don't know, because council holds the purse strings. So that's the one thing we can do if there's money there.
well, it does seem like someone from council should be in those meetings then.
Um, I don't know. They haven't asked yet. So,
Sounds like
but
you'd be interested if that was the case.
yeah, depending on what day they meet. So my other, besides housing, one of my biggest goals is to get active transportation available for everybody in the city. Um, you know, cars have taken over all of our roads. We've built our neighborhoods for cars. We haven't built them for people. There's lots of neighborhoods in town that have absolutely no sidewalks. They're straightaways. Like if you look at Snyder Avenue, that is a big one. If you go north of 15th, it's a straightaway. You can see forever. People speed like crazy. Um, and not everybody. The best thing that anybody can do for their neighbors is to drive the speed limit or a mile or two below it. But then, they have the random 70 mile an hour and 80 mile an hour driver, and there's some severe collisions. So um I want to help make those neighborhoods safer. I want to make it so that in my neighborhood that I can actually ride my bike to downtown, because right
Mm,
now there's not a safe way for me to. And I'm closer than most,
yeah.
so just think of somebody who lives up off of Kitsap Way, and they can ride their bike on Kitsap Way for a little bit, and then all of a sudden they're on 6th Street and there's nothing for them, or they're on 11th and it's even scarier for them there. um, and then we have so many people working at the shipyard that drive themselves in their car by themselves every day, and it adds so much traffic. So if we had safer places for people to walk and ride their bikes, it would just it'd be so great. I mean, it'd be a much better city. I can't imagine too many people with a 10-year-old letting their kid ride their bike downtown. It just They can't get there unless they live downtown. So I want to make that's a big issue for me, for all over the city, and that they all connect to each other.
So interesting, as a 10-year-old in Seattle, I used to be one of those kids that could ride his bike,
Yeah,
in the Rainier Beach area, the Central District area. Uh,
I know.
yeah.
And now you're here in Bremerton, little old Bremerton, and there's not a convenient way for kids to get around. I mean, my grandson's 19 and he doesn't have a driver's license. He just rides his electric bike all around. But, when he first got that at about age 17, I was even like a little bit nervous. Even, he's a careful kid, but now at 19, I feel pretty good about it.
Well, you know that I'm the director of a transportation company, and
Mhm.
for us, what's really important is transportation equity, right? And
Yep.
the bike lanes are great, and that's wonderful. But what we see as the biggest issue is, again, is there a mod pizza that's going to be on Warren Avenue also? That mod pizza?
It's gonna
Chipotle.
be in front of the new grocery outlet.
Okay, so it is a mod pizza. Mod pizza, Chipotle, Wendy's, you
Hmm.
know, we're creating business, which creates jobs, but then folks can't get to work if public transit isn't running during those times. And so
Absolutely.
we need avocation there. And so
Yes.
while that's great for us to pick someone up and take them to work, and we get money for that, we don't want to get money that way, right? We want them to
Right.
be able to have a public option where they can not have to use 20 and 30% of their hourly wages in order to
To get there.
do transportation, right? And sadly, because of housing prices, folks are working 1, 2 jobs in order to pay rent. So, you know, maybe they have public transportation for job 1, but for job 2, there's gonna be a gap, right?
Right.
They can't get home or they can't get to work because they're leaving so early. And so that's just a really big one that I'll continue to kind of talk about and advocate for, transportation equity along those lines.
So Kids Up Transit, I encourage everybody to go. You'll want to stick a needle in your eye because it's so painful, but to attend a Kitsap Transit Board meeting on occasion and get up there and publicly say, like you would be great to go up there and talk with them about folks that you're trying to help out to get to and from work. And there's so many things that they could be more helpful with. Like my brother drives for Uber and Lyft on occasion, and there was a snowstorm about a month ago or something with pretty bad weather, and so most of the cab companies even shut down because of their insurance. And there, a late boat comes in on the ferry,
Hmm.
and those folks had no way to get home.
Yep.
And they also, Kitsap Transit also doesn't allow Lyft and Uber drivers to go up on the deck to pick people up. And then if you try to pull into that illegal spot near Subway, if a cop sees you, they could give you a ticket, and it could also block somebody who's trying to go into the hotel. So just trying to get Kitsap Transit to allow for safe spots for people to pick up. I don't know with your company if they allow you up on the deck or if you just go anyway. And you don't have to tell me you're breaking the law. I don't care.
How about I don't answer that question?
Yeah, you don't answer. But it
No,
shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't be that hard.
sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. We try to get folks to come down more toward the hotel side, because we don't operate as a cab or an Uber, so we're not
Right.
sitting there just waiting for a random fare. We're
Right.
all by appointment. So, um, if someone is coming off the ferry, typically they're going to come down. The only time we'll really drive up there is if someone is working with a disability, right?
Right.
And so they're having some challenges with walking or if they're using a wheelchair, then we'll go up on the deck and we'll
Yeah,
take some yelling.
I was looking at photos of when they, or not photos, but architect renderings of when they were selling the transportation center to all the taxpayers. And
Mm.
there's all these little cars up there and little people getting in and out. And I'm like, so why did you sell it to people like this that they could easily drop off their mom or dad at 2 o'clock in the morning at the ferry? And they're like, well, those are just pictures, Jane. I mean, that was the
Oh wow.
response.
But pictures mean a lot, right? That's intent. And to your point now, if for all of you who have dropped someone off or picked someone up at the ferry and you're coming up to the stop sign and you're holding up traffic so they can run across the street and hop in the car and then you make the left and go, yeah,
Yep,
that's kind of problematic.
it
Um,
is.
so there should be a better system for that to drop people off safely. And sometimes they have a bag in the back of their in the back of
Yeah,
the car.
takes a minute or
It
two.
takes a second, folks are frustrated and yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point.
Yeah, maybe we just get rid of that landscaping area and make one a little pull off right there.
Ooh, yeah, I
But
like
that might be too easy. I don't know.
it. That's right. If it's got the level of difficulty needs to be a 4 out of 5, then we can take it on.
Yeah, yeah,
No, that's a great idea. But you know what? And you said it earlier, right? Having conversations together is what brings the solutions and the ideas, right?
yep,
And so may turn out, no, there's no way to do that. It's too expensive to do that. And it's like, okay, so what else can we do?
right.
How do we modify that? Do we need more signage? Do we need designation? Do we need to integrate buses with regular vehicles or set certain times, peak times to do that? Whatever could happen. But no, I appreciate that for sure.
So there were a couple dates I wanted to make you and all your listeners aware of. Um, on April 13th,
Okay.
the 23rd district representatives are going to have a town hall. So they're going to do it up in Poulsbo in the morning, but they're going to do it at Olympic College at 1 o'clock at the Bremer Student Center. So that would be Drew Hansen, Tara Simmons, and Greg Nance. And so it's just a time for you to bring your questions, and for them to tell us what they managed to pass in the recent session, and find out what kind of help we as residents would like to see. So, but so that's one thing that's
And Jane,
coming up.
that was April 13th, 23rd
April
district.
13th, 1 o'clock, Olympic College Bremer Student Center.
All right. And I got that up in the chat for everyone. I just wanted to make sure that I typed that accurately.
Mm-hmm.
And they will all be there kind of discussing what happened during this last session. Will they take comments and questions on
Yes.
what they're
Yeah, because
okay,
they're advertising it as a town hall. So to me, that's back and forth conversation. So
perfect. And I think I saw something like that. I'm gonna try to find a flyer or something while you're telling us more.
yeah, I can try forwarding you the one that I received on my city email, Marwan.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I'll send you that. Um, Tuesday, April 23rd, Bremerton Food Line's having a fundraiser. I don't know if you've been up there since they started doing their remodeling.
I have
They've
not.
they have a new director. She's got a lot of energy. They have great plans. Things are already starting to happen. The goal is to eventually have it like a 7-day a week grocery store where
Really?
folks can just come in and do the shopping for the things they need that fit their cultural diets. They're not trying to just have everybody fit into you know their definition of what the American diet should be. um
7 days a week. Nice.
yeah, that's it's going to take them a little while to get there, but they've really been working hard up there. So
And-
the fundraisers at the Kitsap Conference Center
okay. Kids
at 7 a.m. on April 23rd.
All right. That's early.
I know, and I'm a table captain, so I got to be there even earlier. And I
So
don't
you
get
will
up
be there for
early.
sure. All right, so that's April 13th.
No, yeah, April 23rd. You got it right.
April 23rd, Food Line, Kitsap Conference Center, 7 a.m. Is it a free event?
Breakfast is free. They're asking, and then there's a little program. They are asking for donations for, it's their fundraiser. So
We'll come down and support. So vitally important. Uh, it, we know what grocery prices are right now.
yeah,
I don't know if we have anything in sight that says we're going to be able to turn those prices back or at least stop the inflation right now. So folks need help, and Bremerton Food Line is stepping up. I got to say, Jane, we have got a lot of great leaders here in the community. There's a lot of good synergy right now um, with Jill and Tony, and um, it's an exciting time.
it is. It really is exciting. Um, I see really good things happening. And for another thing on groceries, I got an email inviting everybody to the new grocery outlet grand opening
Ooh,
on let's see, what's the date for that? April 11th.
April 11th.
Yep.
Is there a time for that?
Well, the ribbon cutting ceremony, I believe, is at 10 o'clock. So actual shopping probably doesn't start till 11:30, but the owners are very excited about it.
And you said April
So am
11th?
I. That's one of my favorite grocery stores.
Is it?
That and Winco.
I hate bagging my own groceries. I hate it. My daughter loves it. Like, oh, let's bag them, Dad. Like, oh, Layla, because it just takes so long, but she loves it.
Yeah, might
I'm
be a
not
future for her.
sure.
She an organized person?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
likes
Yeah.
puzzles and crafts and stuff like that. So,
Yeah,
um,
I'm not very good at bagging my own groceries either, but
well, at
they don't
Waco,
make
it
you
just
do it.
seems like there's such a rush, right? You've got the 2 little ends,
Yeah.
so someone's bagging, you're trying to bag, the next ones are coming down the belt, you've got $200 worth of groceries, like, "I'm trying to hurry, this isn't fitting." It's stressful.
Well, what you do is you get on the line with one of the chatty cashiers, right? And
Mhm.
so with her chatting, then there's not such a big rush. I
Then
mean,
you're
you
all
might wait a little bit longer, but you're not so rushed in
mhm.
getting your stuff. So,
I like it. And that's
yeah.
April 11th?
April 11th.
Alright,
And
let me
that's the
put that
new
in.
one. Um, Now, April 4th will be my district 4 monthly meeting, which anybody can come to. You don't have to live in District 4. And this month's guest is going to be our fire chief. He's going to come and talk to everybody and answer any questions. Last month, we had Chief Wolf from the police department, and it was great. There was about a dozen people, and you can ask them anything, and they give you a clear answer. You know, it's not everything's real respectful, but and it's a good way to get to know the people who work for you in the city and to hear everybody else's ideas.
And they're
'Cause-
coming to you, right? I really appreciate you doing that monthly and having different folks there, right? We've got a lot of folks with busy schedules. It's hard enough
Mhm.
for them to, watch city council, let alone attend. And
Right.
so sending yourself out and making yourself available to the community is powerful because you can just do that for yourself, but then you're bringing other folks in. So that's a really big deal.
Yeah, and I'm learning a lot from it. So if people have suggestions of who they would like me to bring in, I would be happy to reach out to almost
Nice,
anybody for a speaker.
nice.
There's a couple I don't really want to get to know much better, but you know.
You'll find out when you make that suggestion.
Yeah, I know, huh?
And so
Um,
what time is that?
so that's at 5 o'clock to
Okay.
6:30, and it's always the first Thursday of the month, and it's at Bremerton High School,
Mhm.
and it's in their I think they call it their skills center. Anyway, I call it a guidance counselor's office because that's what they called them when I was a kid.
Yeah, that sounds about right. In the skills center. Yeah, guidance counselor. That's what they called them when I was a kid too.
Yeah.
And that is the first Thursday, correct?
Yep. Of every month.
April 4th. So that is coming up next Thursday because the first is Monday. March is done, y'all. It's that fast. That's how it goes. 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. in the Bremerton High School in the Skills Center. You just go in the main building there?
Yeah, the main door, you take a left. I put up little signs
Good.
to make it easier for you to find your way.
So drop in and delicious donuts as well.
Oh no, I don't buy donuts for that.
Oh, you don't buy donuts for that?
I only buy donuts for park cleanups.
Oh, got you. Okay. It's like, oh, hold on now.
Yeah, hold on a minute there. So the Maton Park cleanup, weather permitting, is
Mm,
going to be April 6th.
April 6th.
That's a Saturday.
Maton, is that Maton?
Now, Matan.
Maton Park cleanup. Boom. At what time?
11 to 1.
11 to 1. And where should people watch out just to see how the weather is proceeding?
They can look at my Facebook page. They can sign up for city notifications because Christine, our legislative aide, does send out invites to that. But how about this? If it's more than a 50% chance of rain at 11, it's canceled,
Gotcha. Okay.
you know. So
Good. And hopefully you guys are subscribed to Jane's Facebook so you can keep updated with that. And having those notifications for all things going on in the city is a great way to get reminded because there's so many different things going on. It's like, oh, hey, this is going on today. So do that. I think standard text message rates apply. And you can actually select things, different departments you want to get information from. So it's definitely really informative. You can
yeah.
customize your needs.
So let's see what else is going on in the city. I was so excited about this, even though it probably wouldn't excite most people. But the lighting contract where they're redoing all the street lights in the city,
Mm-hmm.
they're changing the bulbs out, which we had budgeted $700,000 to do that. We
Wow.
budgeted over 10 years because we knew we didn't want to take away from all our other maintenance because we don't have much money in maintenance. Well, we had our public works director worked with our maintenance operations director who just had to retire. And he only worked here for a few months. But Glenn did some really wonderful things for us. But he got that down from the first section was a pretty small section of light bulb replacement. And we were supposed to pay $143 per light bulb, right? They found a grant within PSE. They got it down to where the cost is only like less than $35 a light bulb.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And plus something that we thought was going to take 7 to 10 years is now only going to take us 2 to 3 years to get this all done. It's going to make it a lot safer for folks. Now, this isn't putting in new light poles. What it is the existing lights are going to be changed out to an energy efficient bulb that throws more light.
So it's
So
going to throw more light. I would assume it might use less electricity also.
yes,
You're gonna
much
save
less.
money there.
Yep.
And the cost is like 80% discount, it sounds like.
Yes. Yeah. It's
That's
pretty
massive.
great.
What a win.
It's a huge win. And I'm like, can we use that extra money for traffic calming? And they're like, well, we don't know about that. But
So, well, that's a good question. So, if there is a surplus of money that comes from somewhere, one, what is done with that money? And two, who decides where that money goes?
it depends what fund the money came out of, because you can't take money from the water utility and use it to pave a street unless, and this is what they're going to be doing down on MLK way, they're going to replace the water main.
Okay.
So then by replacing the water main, and I think I'm not sure if they're replacing the sewer main or the storm, probably the storm. Those two utilities are going to pay for a lot of the work, like removing all the concrete. We're getting new utility lines in there. So then our maintenance funds basically only have to pay for the asphalt that they're going to replace it with, the road surface. But you can't go and take funds that were meant to, if we got a grant to do, let's say, repaving Warren Avenue, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't take that money and put it to repaving 11th Street, which needs to be repaved, But and the deciders, it starts in the department who has the extra money, and it's not like it's extra, but where they found out they didn't need to spend all their money, and they work with the finance director. Like recently, our community development department got a grant for $75,000 with no match from the city, and it was to do work that they already had to do. It wasn't like new work. It was work that was part of the comp plan because the state tells us what elements we have to do. So they have $75,000 extra, but not really, because there's other work that they put aside that they really should have been doing. So they'll most likely spend that $75,000 savings on something else within the department.
And let me just say, you know, our viewership is youth on up, and then folks that fall all across the spectrum of their knowledge of how city government works. And
Mm-hmm.
so to kind of give an analogy, if your sibling and you both got $100 and you only use $30 of your allowance, and it's like, well, you got $70 left over, you got to get it to your sibling, you'd be pretty upset about that, right? That's still your
Yeah,
$70 to do what you want with. Uh,
that's a great analogy. Yeah.
and, and then there's also different funding people. If it comes from the federal government, there's some pretty strict restrictions. That sounds like a double. But there are restrictions on how that money can be used. So you may not be able to spend that money over here, even though that would be great and the need is uh, would be super awesome over there. It just
Mm-hmm.
cannot be used that way. And so we have to be good stewards of the money, and it has to be used how it has to be used. But that's you talking about this is also important because a lot of folks are looking at things like, look, this is glaring. Fix it. Fix this pothole. Fix this unhoused issue. Fix this. Look at this money. You $5 million for a roundabout. Just take that and do it here. And it's like, no, legally we cannot, and we don't make the decision on that.
Right.
So with um, you know, KCR and Bremerton Housing Authority coming in the other day and saying, hey, he was back in Washington, D.C., you know, Tony, pulling money into Bremerton. He's at the state, pulling money to Bremerton. There's certain ways that those dollars have to be used, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah. Federalizing a project by getting federal grants does make the project cost more money. The permitting requirements are different. Um, which means by different, I mean it costs you more. Uh, it takes longer, which costs you more. Um, there's a lot more paperwork. Like, everybody working on a government job is supposed to be paid prevailing wage, but when you're on a federal job, the level of paperwork that they make you do takes a lot. And then, especially when and hopefully you're using DBE's disadvantaged businesses um, to do the work, and it might not be paperwork they're used to doing. So all of a sudden they have to hire somebody extra to help them do it. So, yeah, Fed money is not free money.
It sounds like a devil's bargain.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
we'll
mean,
give you this money. No
we'll
worries.
we'll still take it. Like the Navy can still help us, but don't write us a check that we have to do certain things for. Um, but yeah, so those are like the major things happening now in the council. Um, always new things coming up. We're working on the DEI position. I don't know
Oh,
if
can you
you
talk a little
heard
bit about
that.
that?
Are you still there?
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot of new information to give you, but we did um, authorize, even though we didn't have, like, if there's something that costs less than $100,000, the administration doesn't need council's permission. The mayor can sign a contract for less than 100. So, but they just, want to keep us up to date. So they did sign a contract to work with a consultant who's going to um, put together the full job description um, with our, we'll be reviewing it. So it's not like these people get to just do it all on their own.
Mhm.
And they'll lay out the hiring process. because I'm sure that it's going to be like when you're hiring a school superintendent or something, where the community is welcomed and encouraged to come in and ask questions to make sure it's a good fit. Because the worst thing we could do is hire somebody and let them fail, you know? So we want to make sure that we use somebody who's more knowledgeable than anybody who currently works for the city or is elected to the city, um, to help us hire this position. So right now we're just in the phase of getting the job description written, and then they'll advertise and lay out what the process will be and share that with council and the community. I think we'll all be learning it about the same time.
Good. Are there some things that you would like to see in that job description for that position?
Well, I'm not sure. I don't think I can speak enough to that, because I think there's a lot of folks in the community who have a much better idea than me on what they think needs to be changed with the way we do business in the city of Bremerton. So I would like to hear their voices. Ooh, my cat's here. One of them.
Those are some yellow eyes there. What kind of cat is that?
Yeah, she's scary. She's a mean one too.
Whoa.
The two
Those
boys
are deep yellow eyes.
Yeah.
What kind of cat is that?
She's just a little black tabby who's not the sweetest thing, but she's a lot of fun. I have two orange boys who are really sweet, and she's the spice in the household.
I could see it in those eyes. Goodness,
Yeah.
that would scare me to death in the middle of the night. So it sounds like one, again, a great place is to come and talk to Jane if you want to give input on what should be in that job description and what's important to you or to us in regards to being community for that position. And if you want it to really have the teeth and be an effective position and do what it needs to do, then your voice needs to be heard up front and not after the fact. Because if you don't speak up, then the powers that be are going to say, hey, this is what we ran with. This was the input that was given, and here it is. And then it's like, hey, well, I don't like this and I don't like that. It's like, well, did you give input? Well, no. Well, you kind of got what you gave, right? So
Yeah.
you're here. So it's important, and there's open space. And as always, you have so many different ways to get a hold of Jane. I need to pull that up, your email again. But
And the entire city council.
and the entire city council.
Yeah. And the mayor, of course. So yeah, all your ideas, please share them with the elected officials, or it's not going to happen. I mean, if we don't hear from you, nothing will change.
Well, I think that is really super important. I'm hoping next month, if you have flyers, send them to me, and then I'll pull them up while we're talking.
Okay.
And then I can share that out. And I know that you are working symbiotically with your other council members. So if they have something going on like grocery outlet and there's a flyer, I can pop that out too. Trying to find the email quickly, which I cannot.
Oh, it's Jane, or you can do it city council, city.council
City.
at ci.bremerton.wa.us. I think there's a shorter version too, but I haven't figured
I don't know what it is. And it's
Yeah.
in my, it's in your memory of your email. So I
Yeah.
don't memorize all the CI, City Bremerton, City of Bremerton, Washington, United States. So
Yeah.
you designate the city, and then it just gets bigger from there. So maybe if you can remember it that way. So then would it be Jane.Rebelowski at
Yep.
ci.Bremerton? Okay.
Yep. If
So,
you want it just to go to me. If you send it to city.council, it usually takes us about 2 days to get it because a staff member goes through those and then forwards them because there's a lot of crazy emails that she gets. So it takes her a couple days to send them all to
oh,
us.
wow. Like
You know,
threats and things like that? Are they
I don't know that it's specifically threats, but a lot of it's just junk mail. You know, it's like
Oh,
I
got
think
you.
I have over 9,000 unread emails in my Gmail account. You know, it's, all that junk stuff. So,
Well, that's good they kinda sort that stuff out. So
yeah,
that's
they
ex
do. They're helpful.
oh,
But I'm going to need to run. I
no,
have
we're wrapping now.
Okay.
Just your final thought?
Just I look forward to hearing everybody's ideas, and please tell me how I can help you as your city council member. Um, I look forward to the next 4 years. I think so far it's been fun. Not every night, but you know, most of the time.
All right. Well, that is the final thought from Jane Rebelowski, City Councilwoman, District 4. Again, you have all of the information there for you to attend different events that are going on in the month of April. We will be back with Jane next month, fourth Thursday at 3 p.m., the day after City Council, which is great. So tune in, but do make sure that you see her in person. Again, Fire Chief will be her guest. And that is next Thursday on the 4th at Bremerton High School, 5:30 p.m., 5 to 6:30 p.m. You don't want to miss that again. And she is definitely open for your input. So let's make change together. For Jane Rebelowski, I'm R1 Cameron. This is The Conduit. We'll see